Alright folks, the VZ-64 Tier 8 normal Czech light tank, now with a proper autocannon, not a rapid firing autoloader that we saw on the Tier 7 for the Skoda T17, but this vehicle kinda looks like a 70s Volkswagen coupe of a little box tank that could. It is not as intimidating as the premium Tier 8, definitely not as scary as a BMP-esque of a twin 50mm autocannon. It's a smaller caliber for the twin 37, so definitely not as scary. Looks more like a home project for a very good dad with a mechanical engineering background or something, but yeah, definitely not as intimidating as this thing. Definitely. So I made the bet that this was going to be the premium, and the cuter version is going to be the actual normal tank, the tech tree tank. It turns out I was correct. So don't put this thing off yet. It's still twin 37, which is actually bigger caliber than the BMP-2's 30mm autocannon. Penetration is different, and the BMP-2 does have rockets, but different story for a different day. It does look kinda pacifist with a small box tank and design, but it is square with a rounded turret on top, 3 machine guns, could use one more for the intimidation factor for the commander on top, but hey, already has like 3 machine guns, why the hell do you need more, right? But kinda basic, no logs, no axes or hatchets or saws or shovels, none of the stuff, crew equipments, none of them on the vehicle, fire extinguisher and other stuff, but 3 machine guns on the vehicle and 3-man crew. Commander is also the loader, presumably, as well as the gunner and the driver. So not a bad looking tank, but there are a few popular Tier 8s without armor. ELC EVN 90, the Scorpion G, the SU-130 PM. They'll be chewed out by this machine gun, right? Especially with a high explosive shell. So, there's a shovel, there's a saw. Alright, it does have something for it, but spare track links, tow cables, yada yada. So, main stats wise, 6 alpha damage for the 37mm autocannon. As expected, it's a machine gun, but 3 alpha damage, dropped by half if you're using gold shell. Very good call, in my honest opinion, because it reduced the incentives to be a AMX 1357, right? Spamming all the gold shell. That's not going to be fun, especially firing all the gold into a Tier 8 paper tank. So yeah, reduce the alpha damage, which is very good call. But high explosive does penetrate at 37mm compared to your 165. So 165 is kind of measly, but it's a machine gun, so you should go for the rear or maybe some of the cupola weak spots, but I'm still doubting that 165 will go through like heavy tank cupolas at Tier 8. But side armor is good enough, right? There are no vehicles with 165mm of side armor, but 37mm for high explosive rounds will penetrate stuff like the Rheinmetall Borsig, Scorpion Gs, SU-130 PMs, and it will deal 10 damage. There are 140 rounds in the magazine, so theoretically, if you manage to pin all 140 rounds into a Rheinmetall Borsig or Scorpion G, you will overkill by like 300 or 400 health, so you could afford to miss. This thing has a very big clip damage if all using high explosive against like a even 4005, right? FV 4005. You will burn that ship barn to the ground. It does hurt if he punches back with the Hesh round if you do get hit, but you can bite back with lots of damage. Shell velocity is also not bad, right? High explosive round on this vehicle is actually faster than the HEP round on the German Bulldogs. Funny enough, it's about 770-ish meters per second. So, alright, kind of scary. Reloads at 20 seconds per clip. And very quick, 0.03 seconds between each shot, of course. But aim time is 2.4. Accuracy is kind of crap. But then again, it's a machine gun. as you would expect. 10 degrees gun depression, 25 for elevation. Theoretically, you could shoot down helicopters or low-flying planes. Maybe. 2,240 rounds. It will take a while, but don't spam too much. Well, you're spamming too much. Curl of 3. Top speed of 60, not bad. Reverse of 21, workable. Horsepower per ton ratio is also decent, 28. It is on the higher end of horsepower per ton ratio, but not as crazy as the Russians with the LTTB or the LT432. It's still faster to rev than the German Bulldog. That's at like 21 or at best 22 horsepower per ton ratio, so relatively fast and nimble. Same goes with the Traverse for the hull and the turret, but health is middle of the pack, as you would expect. It's not as bad as the cars, the Lynx, but it's about the same as a Sinlac, or actually the LHMTV, so it's workable. Armor is non-existent. It's not even close to the LTTB or the LT432. It's not exactly combat heavy, but still an autoloader or autocannon. Camo, pretty decent, better than the Bulldogs. View range, alright, not the worst. A radio is standard. So the good thing about this vehicle is obviously the capability of the high explosive round. That is pretty interesting to me to think about. You have lots of popular paper tanks at Tier 8 as premiums. This thing will fully counter all of these with lots of burst damage. Burst damage is crazy. 1,400 with high explosive rounds. You will miss some of them, but if you hit like 60%, you will kill a Scorpion G right off the bat. So, alright, base DPM with actual AP round is not bad too, about 2,200. You could miss a few, and that would drop the DPM obviously, but accuracy, whatever. Aim time is actually alright, not the worst, but 10 degrees gun depression, 25 elevation, traverse is quick. There's a new category called rate of fire per minute. I think that's how many bullets you spew out if you don't have the clip reloading system, but this thing will spew out 2,100 rounds constantly for a minute. But that's kind of interesting. So it takes about 19 seconds for 140 rounds to reload, but 6 alpha damage, yada yada. Horsepower per ton ratio is good enough, very good enough. Top speed could be better. You could put a turbocharger on this vehicle, but if you want to spot, you could with that camo. It's better at spotting and remaining stealthy than a Bulldog, so that's not half bad. View range could be better. Coda optics will help out. So this is the comparison with the stock. The green is better than the stock value of a 30mm autocannon, I believe. But you get more health with the turret upgrade. That is a stock gun with the stock ammo count. It has more ammo count than the upgraded gun, but does deal less damage, obviously, by like 33%. Yeah, 30mm autocannon times 2 compared to 37 for the upgraded version. You don't need a turret for the upgraded gun, which is good. It weighs the same, so you can actually research the gun before you research the turret, but if you want to spot, research the turret. They don't say how much the actual stock turret view range is. Unfortunate, but DPM is about the same, close enough for the two guns. Same goes with the aim time and the accuracy. Penetration is obviously slightly better for the top 37mm, but 20 seconds to reload for both guns. You have less shell for the top gun, but it deals more damage, so there's a trade-off. Okay, fine. But research-wise, I would say, if you want to have fun, go with the gun. If you want to spot and actually be somewhat more useful than dealing damage, research your turret. But you don't know if the turret needs the tracks first, so that might be a question. But yeah, I presume the stock 30mm will have the damage drop for the gold shell as well, right? Prevent you from spamming all the gold shell like a scum, but 3,000 rounds per minute if you have a constantly rapid firing gun without the reload. But Yeah, traverse is quick. Traverse is still quick. Aim time gets a little bit better. Same goes with the accuracy. Slightly better DPM, but no armor whatsoever. 50 more health. Weighs about 16 tons, 17 tons or so. Paper tank, practically. But base horsepower per ton ratio is not half bad. At 26, upgraded to 28. You get better hull traverse with the tracks, and better terrain resistance as well, but camo is decent. View range could be better, right? View range could be better. But let's take a look at Tier 8 stats for light tanks. So let's see, Tier 8 light tank DPM. The best one is the Bulldog, but they removed the 10 round clip at like the 76mm, so that thing has lots of burst damage. Originally for the Bulldog, it clips out like an AMX 5100, but they nerfed it, obviously. It's so stupid. So DPM is not half bad, but you will miss some of the shells, right? So still not bad. Top of the pack in DPM. Does a lot better than something of a LH MTV or ELC EVN 90. So these are more for spotting. You are more for dealing damage and assassination attempts with autocannon. But let's see, health wise, it should have about middle pack of the health. Yeah, about middle. You have combat light tanks with a little bit more health. Surprisingly the same health as a LTTB, but yeah, you cannot penetrate the LTTB. It has 90mm and 75, 45 at the sides. Wow, you cannot penetrate the Russian light tank with high explosive. You can only use regular penetration AP round, but yeah, high explosive will deal damage to something like the Sinlak. Yeah, Sinlak has no armor. Same goes with the HWK-30. The Germans have no armor. Yeah, the Bulldogs, you go chew through the Bulldogs with the high explosive rounds. That'll be fun, but let's see camo. Yeah, camo's not bad. Middle of the pack, still better than the Bulldogs, obviously, at the bottom, but about the same camo as a T92, which is pretty decent. Let's see horsepower per ton ratio. Oh, I mean, yeah. Well, 35 for the T92? I forgot it's good. I mean, 28. I still think it's good, but yeah, it's better than the Bulldog, obviously. The German Bulldogs. Better than the ELC, but actually middle of the pack to the bottom, surprisingly. Oh, that is crazy. I forgot how crazy the horsepower per ton ratio on the T92 is. That is surprising. Holy crap. Alright, we already talked a lot. Let's see penetration finally. About the same penetration. It's not a 20 pounder for the... Well, really? Oh, it's 226 for the 85mm on the Brits, but 20 pounder, yada yada. Penetration is still, yeah, kind of if, but you have the high explosive round. Yeah, 20 penetration is just better than the bottom. Stock gun wise, it's 170 for the LTTB. That's upgraded gun too. Holy crap. Interesting. So basically, the gun will penetrate if you manage to pin the side armor. No armor at Tier 8 is better than 165 at the sides or 165 at the rear. So you will penetrate the mouse at the rear with gold shell. The mouse has like 180 at the hull sides and rear or something, but you want definitely the common loadout, I believe, for these vehicles. It's common for the commander vision system, reducing the bushes and foliage, but I don't think you need turbocharger or any of the gun stuff like vents or improved aiming. None of that. You need better camo, better view range, and negation of the foliage or the bushes, but this is the common setup. Usually you don't want anything else unless you have a niche for damage dealing with stuff like the German Bulldogs, putting a rammer, putting vertical stabilizer, or unless you're playing American light tanks with the derp guns. But usually you just want the same old setup for all of the light tanks. Yeah, even the cars have the same loadout. Yeah, commander vision system, exhaust, camo boost, and the radio. No, not the radio. the view range buff. There's a radio thing, but yeah, nobody uses this. This is utter crap. Not really that useful. Have better view range radio. Ugh. So unless you're playing something of American light tanks, which needs the vertical stabilizer for large caliber guns, I didn't even put it on the American light tanks. Never mind. Unless you're using the 152, yeah, fine, whatever. But yeah, normally that's the same old setup for equipments for all the light tanks. But Tier 8 lights, let's see, field modification, all of them are the same. It's a versatile, right? It should be a versatile. No special category for autocannons. First one is mobility. I would say better top speed, goes a little bit faster, always nice. You'll reach that top speed all the time than having that engine power. So I will still say top speed is always decent. But yeah, horsepower per ton ratio, that's the stock. Horsepower per ton ratio is good enough. I would say it's good enough. You don't need any more buffing, but 60 kilometers per hour top speed can be better. I forgot to look at top speed. Give me a split second. Top speed 70, 70, 68, 68. Yeah, bottom of the barrel for top speed. Could be better. 60 is kind of if. So that's the moving mode, not the turbo mode for the car, just normal mode. Yeah, you want turbocharger, or not the turbocharger. You want the top speed buff from field mods. Turbocharger might be a little bit overkill, but yeah, top speed is a little bit better. Accuracy or reload time. DPM buff is not that crazy. It's only about 100 or so. So I would say better accuracy, especially with the auto cannons, right? You have a better spread of the shots, but we'll have to see the after firing dispersion, which is kind of important for rapid firing guns, but I would say better accuracy. Yeah, 0.4, not that great. So accuracy change is from 0.35 to 0.33, which is somewhat significant compared to only 100 DPM. I would say better accuracy. And finally, protection or reverse speed. Protection is kind of important against high explosive rounds and stray shots that hit. So I would say better protection, but reverse speed is alright, decent enough. It's 21 without anything buffing it or changing it, so it's better than the Skoda T17, but just turn in a circle and run around. Don't just drive backwards. It will slow you down and restart the engine rev to go backwards. Just turn in a circle, turn 180 degrees and run away. But yeah, better protection. Save yourself from the medkits. And commander is kind of important. He's also the loader. Same goes with the gunner. Gunner is the accuracy part, as well as the driver. So better protection for the crew. But how good is this vehicle? I feel like against popular tanks at Tier 8, this is good, right? The ELC EVN 90, the EBR 75s, this thing will chew them out if you have intuition on the commander. So if the time comes with the crew skill revamp thing that you saw on the sandbox, if all the multi-role crews have a special bonus perk for their secondary qualification, like with loaders for the commanders or radio operators for the commanders, then you get intuition practically for free, as long as you have enough skill points. But if this thing could switch the clip from AP round to high explosive in a matter of like 4 seconds or so, this thing will devastate stuff like the Scorpion G and the SU-130PM or other light tanks like the Bulldog. The Bulldog has only like 20mm of armor, yeah, 25. So high explosive round with 37mm of pen will go through, other than hitting the tracks, but that would be fun. So as long as you survive, the longer you survive, the better you'll do, right? It's an assassin vehicle, especially with high explosive rounds, but premium tier 8s, some of them are very popular. Like this thing has garbage rear armor, so you can pin with actual AP going through the front. But if you have high explosive loaded, going through the rear, not a bad problem. I think the shipped TVP-100 has better armor than the Scorpion G or the SU-130PM. Let's see how much armor this thing has. 25 for the rear. It will bounce for high explosive, but you'll pin with the actual AP round. So AP will still go through. AP is not that bad, right? AP is not that bad, but high explosive will go through. Oh, only 30 at the hull front. Go through this thing like nothing. Go through stuff like the SU-130PM. Yep, this thing has no armor whatsoever. No armor on this thing. So ELC EV-90, no armor, EPRs. Well, EPR has 40mm slope at the hull front and rear front. Rear back, whatever. But side armor, it'll be funny if you're struggling to penetrate this thing with high explosive. You can penetrate this thing. This thing is popular. So this thing has 65 at the hull front and turret front. And 40 all the way around. You will struggle to pin with high explosive on this thing, surprisingly. AP will still pin, but yeah, it's a fun vehicle to think about. It's practically the whole line is like playing Panzer 1C at high tier. This is a fun vehicle. This is a very fun vehicle. It has 33mm of pin, 8 alpha damage, surprisingly higher for a Mauser machine gun than a 37mm at tier 8. Yeah, this thing has only 6 alpha damage. What the hell? This thing has better alpha at tier 3. But then again, yeah, the burst damage is not that crazy with this thing. It's a little machine gun. As horsepower per turn ratio of 23, so armor is about the same too. So imagine playing this thing at tier 8 with a more capable gun, but Campbell is also not that great on this thing, surprisingly. Yep, I feel it's going to be fun. I feel that if there are a few factors that's kind of scary when you think about it, because I play Armor Warfare. I saw how crazy the autocannons on there work, especially for vehicles with armor, like the Terminator. So thank God these vehicles don't have armor, but they are fast. They're annoying to deal with. If you leave them surviving too long, this thing will outspot, right? If it doesn't penetrate, it can outspot you. So it's a very dangerous vehicle to leave alive. So just pray to the gods that these things will YOLO rush and die within like first minute of into the combat or into the battle. But if they survive long enough, they will pick you off, especially if you have no armor, especially without armor. So the good thing about these vehicles or the design is gold shell doesn't pin, or gold shell doesn't have that much alpha damage. Thank God the gold shell is not that big of a gold spam in a case, but I would say 6.5. It feels decent, right? There's no that much downside. DPM doesn't seem that bad as opposed to the tier 7. It doesn't seem that much lacking in the horsepower per turn ratio, even though top speed could be better. View range could be better, right? But camo is decent. The gun does perform. It has no armor, yada yada. 6.5 for now, but I love my Panzer 1C. That's for the inflated value, so we'll have to see, but 6.5. So there you go, folks. The VZ64, the tier 8 normal, Czech light tank. And we'll take a look at the premium next, because obviously it's a bigger caliber, so deals more damage. But as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.